Hello, everybody, and welcome to Portimao, Portugal. We are at Algarve International Circuit. See some great shots brought to you by Google Earth. I am Sean Stam, joined by.
Hi, my name's Toka, and I'm joining you here today, live from the other side of the planet. But it's great to be here today, Sean. We have a 30-minute quick race here for the Porsche Cup on iRacing, and the drivers already finished their 10-minute qualifying session, and they're ready to get going in this race.
Going to be a good one as we've seen quite some good competition between these Porsche Cups drivers this season. As looks like they're going to start the formation lap now. 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 35% humidity point. Partly cloudy today for our drivers. Looks like kind of a cold track, so might take a lap or two, maybe even three, for things to get up to temperature.
Yeah, definitely a factor to take into account, especially on this track, specifically Portimao, where some of these turns, the elevation changes are absolutely insane, and especially that downhill braking, and then quick uphill acceleration. Then when your tires are not warmed up properly, it's very easy to lock up first in that braking section, and then oversteer off the circuit into the gravel trap on the uphill section. This is the corner here I'm talking about. So definitely tire temperature, tire management, very important. Even in a quick 30-minute race, when you're pushing too hard or when you're lifting, it's important to keep those tires in that working temperature range.
Hey, you mentioned it. The elevation change is when I was practicing here for iRTES coming up on Apex Racing TV. Man, some of these turns are completely blind. Talk about the elevation change. You're going into some blind corners. Hopefully a car just isn't stopped there on the racing line or something right there in front of you. But, man, gonna have to manage the braking at pressures as well, because one lockup in these cars, you're, right off of the track, into the gravel, gonna fling gravel all up on the track. And that makes the grip levels of the guys the grip levels of the cars behind go down as they attract some of that gravel on their racing
Yeah,
tires. Believe these Pirellis, Michelin's, but anyways.
yeah. As you mentioned, especially these Porsche Cup cars, perhaps a little bit more forgiving in terms of the braking compared to other cars like in the same class, you would say. For example, in WEC, same cars in the class like KTM's or Mercedes, they are a lot heavier cars, especially on this track where the braking is so important due to the elevation changes. Those heavier cars can suffer quite a lot, but these Porsche cars are a little bit more forgiving. But still, as you mentioned, they have to really pay attention to these minute details. Just all the while they're racing hard out there on the track.
Looks like we have Paul Darling. These drivers are swapping spots right now at the front row, but either looks like Michael Parker or Paul Darling put that on the pole, and then Enrico G. Lucas Haller starting right there behind him, Lucas P3. Gab Chavez, we will actually be riding on board with, have that live camera shot. We might cut to that just the start of the race here, as we can see how intense the start's going to be. It's very important, as one, can't get caught up in anything, and then two, gonna try and escape the drivers from behind. Looks like looks like pace car's gonna drive for safety. Toka, you wanna take us to green flag?
All right, here we go. Then we're going to cross the timing line here. As soon as we cross that second start to finish line, it's green in Portimao, and we are off the racing in the Porsche Cup in this round here. Poor Darling starting off on pole position. It's going to get to an okay start. Marco Parker pulling long ahead in that second place position, and Greg Grado on the green car. Behind Lucas Holler with a very good run now. Paul Darling in a troublesome position. Marco Parker is going to claim first place for now, but into turn one we go. Downhill braking. This is going to be chaos if the drivers are not careful, but so far no contact yet. Some chaos on the back of the field, but still Michael Parker ahead here. Paul Darling has dropped back. Enrico saved for now. Lucas Holler had a good run, but wasn't good enough into turn one now. Bump there from Chad Hansen into Davis Braun, but we are going now. The drivers are starting to separate now. Michael Parker fully ahead, and now we are forming a single line after this race.
Amazing start by these drivers, and we saw Gab Chavez kind of try and force it 3 wide there right as the lights or the green flag dropped, but wow, very clean start. Got David Nelson making a move early on Mark Johnson. Michael Parker taking that first spot away from Paul Darling here early in Portimao.
Yeah, but this is a long race. Even by normal standards, 30 minutes is a quick format, but still lots of opportunities for these drivers behind, especially considering you can just ease off a little bit, let the driver ahead absorb the pressure, right? See if he makes any mistake. So it's going to be up to the pole position here. Michael Park, who had a good run down to the turn 1 to defend to the drivers behind. The gaps not really building that quickly yet. So just going to have to keep, again, those temperatures of the tires, those braking points in mind. Because one mistake around this track is very costly. We saw some drivers there in the back markers positions making moves, but so far no real position changes yet.
We have some incidents occurring on this first lap. First one looks like Mike Tyler. Take a look. Brought to you by Stam Studio Network. This is about halfway into the track, heading back up the hill, and then more elevation change. Ooh, gonna make contact. Oh, gonna spin the car around. Was that Donald Cepek? Looks like it was. Unfortunate for him. Jarrett Skinner going around at the moment, right now.
Yeah, so it's a 3-car involved incident there, and all 3 had to eventually end up sliding off the track. Oh, this is just an unfortunate mistake here from Jarrett Skinner. Oh, and it comes back on the track, unsafe rejoin, hits a car on the way through. All the cars behind are going to be affected. All the braking lines are going to be messed up by this Jarrett Skinner, who makes a mistake and who's going to end up paying the most in that incident.
Take a look at this. We're going to ride on board with Chad Henson after Jarrett's just costly mistake, and then Chad, unfortunate rejoin for Jarrett. Nowhere to go for Chad. Ugh, unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go on the grass there. If you go on the grass, you can just ruin the entire section there. It was a double apex corner. But yeah, a lot of situations, but especially the one we saw before that, where into the turn 1 there, downhill braking zone, corners completely blind because the elevation change is so insane. All you're seeing is just the horizon when you're braking. So any cars have you can't see, and that's what ended up happening when he bumped the back. I think it was Mark Johnson.
These 2 drivers pulling away from the pack just a little bit. Enrico 2.8 behind. Lucas just half a second behind him. And then we got Gab Chavez. We'll cut to that live shot again. Only got it for a second there at the start of the race, but check this out. I love cutting to this live shot. This is actually a GoPro footage of what Gab sees point of view is heading into turns 1, 2, 3 as he's going to have to get the car very slowed down. Second year corner, going to get a run on Lucas in front of him. Not quite side by side up the hill, though.
Yeah, it is a great shot to have there. We're seeing the race from the driver's point of view. Really goes to show you how difficult this track is, especially when you're racing this close, and a little bump there from Gab Chavez to the new Lucas Holder, kind of unstabilizing the driver in front of him. Especially on this track, when the elevation is changing and you bump like that, it's very easy to cause a massive incident. So you really have to be careful of how much force you apply or how much aggressively you bring into these fights.
Is he letting Lucas know he's there? Is he just kind of maybe trying to force him into driving a corner too deep? But oh, here goes Gab. Whoa! I thought he was going to get a run or maybe crossover there, but no, gravel thrown up all over the track. These drivers going to lose a bit of grip for these next few turns.
Yeah, that was the incident before in that double apex corner with Jarrett Skinner, where 3 cars went off the track there, especially in that double header. So yeah, still gonna have that part of the track is gonna be dirty for a while. So drivers will consider going offline just to stay safe from the ground. But for now, it's Michael Parker who's bringing along Paul Darling, and that's just pulling a gap here already for the past 2 laps. Sorry, 4-second gap between the the first and second place to the rest of the field. And Rico not really able to hang on out of the slipstream, and now he's gonna have to focus on the on the attackers coming off behind him.
Yeah, you're right. Looks like Paul was able to just about match him lap 2, but slower laps 1, 3. Maybe in the slipstream now just a little bit, or possibly getting Michael to look into his mirrors. But looks like he's cut that gap down just a little bit this lap. Maybe Michael's just a bit better in certain sectors. But okay, we'll take a look here. Sector 1. Looks like, yeah, Paul a little bit quicker, but oh, Paul's gonna take a little bit of a deeper racing line into the corner there. Let's see sector 2 if Paul is still hanging on with him. Let's cut that gap down to 0.3 seconds now for the lead in Champion Motorsports Porsche Cup. Thank you all for joining us today on the YouTube streams, both on Champion Motorsports YouTube channel and Stam Studio Network. Paul's just abiding his time, it looks like, just not pushing the car too much. We'll see. This is a great kind of 180-degree long hairpin turn. Yeah, not really forcing his Porsche to do too much. And then this is a long sweeping right coming back to the start-finish straight.
Yeah, we kind of see this pattern a lot with other races, with other championships as well, especially in these Porsche cars, where we have a situation like this where first and second place is so far ahead of the rest of the field. The second place car will always just lurk. It's like a shark lying in the water waiting for the most opportunistic moment to attack, right? Look at this, just bumper to bumper. Paul Darling can go for a move, but he doesn't want to. He's just applying pressure. He's gonna even lift on the straight if he has to. Always just stay in the blind spot of Michael Parker, pull along, bait the move, see if Michael Parker makes the wrong mistake. See, exactly like this, Michael Parker having to cover the inside line. They're afraid Paul Darling would dive down there, which would just ruin his line, cook his tires, and overall, across the entire 30 minutes, it's gonna hurt him. But here we go, Enrico there, completely missing the break point, opens the door wide for Lucas Holder, who is gonna grab that opportunity with both hands. Says thank you very much and goodbye. Enrico has been suffering a little bit here, had a good qualifying session, ended up starting on third position, but can't capitalize on it, and has been making a few costly mistakes, especially in lap 2 we saw him go wide as well. So now he's paying for it. Not only is Lucas Holder gonna pass him, driving behind here, Gab Chavez is gonna look for some opportunities as well, because he knows Enrico's tires are not gonna be in good shape from that lockup, and he's gonna be under a lot of pressure. His Gab Chavez is gonna go full attack mode.
Full attack indeed, pushing this Porsche car to its limits, it seems. David Nelson and Mark Johnson having a great run. David starting P6, retaining P6. Mark Johnson gaining a spot since the start of the race. Davis Braun, raced with him before. Great run for him so far. P8, gained a spot. Chad Henson, I'd love to get a look at the damage on the nose of his Porsche, see how bad it is, because that looks like quite a big hit to Jarrett Skinner. John Jennings running P10. He started James Andrew P11, Mike Tyler P12, Donald Cepek, P13. David Anderson P14, and then Jarrett Skinner after his incident P15. But James Andrew looks like he went off the track. Hopefully not a bigger incident.
To play this one here. Irish driver. Oh, coming into the double header here. Cool, sick drift by James Andrew.
Formula
Comes
drift.
To a complete stops, it just keeps on going. Dang, that was a sweet drift. Hell yeah, brother.
Formula Drift would be happy with that one, you'd think. Take one more look at the awesome drift. Gonna kill the tires though, unfortunately, but cool for us up in the booth. Locks it down. This is such a cool shot. See the tire marbles, or the tire rubber also on the track getting laid down. This is, oh, what a shot. Great job iRacing with that.
Honestly, here, coming into that left-hand side, he could have maybe tried to apply a bit more throttle steer with the foot there, but just make it a drift car. Just go around the corner.
get the car to keep rotating. I was kind of thinking that too, but that was kind of fun to watch. Is now battle for the
Very
lead
entertaining.
still intensifying, gap down to 0.25 for Paul Darling. Just like you said, shark in the water, waiting for. Well, he smells blood. I think he's just circling him now.
You see, just Michael Parker is making these micro mistakes, you know. This again, just pulls off to the left-hand side there. Every single time we go into these long, winding corners, Paul Darling, it just goes slightly onto the left-hand side. Michael Parker sees it in his mirror and is forced to defend, but then Paul Darling just says, "Nope, I'm not going to attack. He's going to back off. See how many mistakes you're going to make." As soon as he makes a catastrophic one, Paul Darling's going to go for it. But so far, it seems like Paul Darling's playing the long game here. These micro mistakes, man, it doesn't seem like quite a lot, but over the course of the entire race, they're gonna add up. And towards that last, 1, 2, 3 laps, when the driver has just been playing the conservative game the entire way through versus someone who has been forced to overstep his boundaries quite a lot, and those differences is just gonna turn into an insane move at the end that we see so many times over and over again in this Porsche Cup.
Exactly. I mean, especially with the no ABS, no TC, there's nothing to lean on like there is with the GT3 cars. Speaking of things to lean on, as we talk about how tough these cars are to drive, looks like Mark Johnson. This is heading down into turn 1. Ooh!
Oh my god, takes a sausage curve, goes airborne there, turns around, dangerous. Drivers have to go off track to avoid him. Thankfully, nobody else was involved in that incident but Mark Johnson, but here it goes to show you the devastation that these blind, winding, massive elevation changes, inducing corners, what damage they can do to you if you're not careful. Yeah, he has to slow down if you let cars pass him. Very responsible driver to not join the track unsafely.
Take a look, just too much of that curb, and that's so difficult because that's what you're aiming for there in turn 1, and then looks like Chad Johnson Davis Braun taking some evasive action, and like you said, very good racecraft here to go ahead and wait after that. Looks like that didn't quite catch it, but looked like a Fendi car that went by. So wow, that's some action. We still have Michael Parker, Paul Darling going at it. Enrico and Gab Chavez. Now would be a great time again to go on board with Gab as he's reeled in Enrico. Enrico fighting that Porsche. We've seen him off track just a couple of times already.
An onboard shot again here with Gab Chavez. On the back line, on the back bumper of Enrico. We saw Gab Chavez there really tried to hunt down Enrico, but it seems like he's just kind of backed off, realized Enrico was going to play the defensive game. Enrico's basically given up the position, the podium position to Lucas Holder in favor of keeping this 4th position. It's a 1 point difference in the Porsche Cup Championship between these two positions, but every point counts. And Gab Chavez, again, see kind of a mirror here. Like Paul Darling, he's going to be playing the long game. The gap not quite as close because there's a lot of draft with the drivers in front, especially Lucas Holder. But still, yeah, he's going to do it the same approach as we see second place doing, where it's just going to try and stick with him, see what mistakes he makes, because as we saw already, Enrico quite prone to those so far in the race.
That was John Jennings, that Fendi paint scheme that barely missed Mark Johnson spinning earlier turn 1. Really good run for him. He's gained a spot since the start. And then James Andrew, after a little bit of an incident earlier, still running P10. So that's pretty impressive. Got Mark Johnson right there behind him. Gonna maybe force the issue. Not quite close enough to do it to turn 1 here. But just kind of.
Okay.
Oh, what'd you see?
Yeah, he went wide. He tried to go around the outside, but it ended up going wide. So James Andrew gonna have to play defensive here as the driver behind Mark Johnson is looking for quite, I think, really opportunistic moments. Not quite the chance to do so, but every time into a corner he's pulling right alongside
James
the entire car. He's gonna dive into the inside line here, but again, not enough gap. As I said, right, these chances are not really there for him but he's trying to go for them. He's trying to fish for it, as if trying to manifest them into reality.
Got Mike Tyler and Donald Seapat going at it. There are battles all over the track, and take a look at this paint scheme. I mean, that might be one of my favorite of the season so far of Mike Tyler's. That's get a good look this time by. That's really neat, kind of Galaxy-esque almost. And then Donald with a little bit of damage to his rear bumper, rear diffuser, but trying to make that pass on Mike Tyler. Really good battles, 9th through 13th. Oh, is Donald gonna look the inside? Take a locks up, barely avoids hitting him.
Yeah, into the hairpin there. But hey, we're very aggressive, not shying with race winner as well. Particular championship. So, yeah, but still has a lot. Catch up, here we go. Just down the start finish rate in Mike Tyler. Is James and fighting hard. James, Mike, go ahead. Sorry, again, I missed. Man, Mark Johnson's gonna go ahead of James Andrew. Those two drivers are still very, very close to each other.
Definitely so, as we take a look back at Lucas Haller running P3, still trying to hold Enrico back. That gap for the lead, now back down to 0.8 after Paul got really, really close to Michael, but not able to make the move just yet. Almost lap 20 out, or not lap, minute 20 out of 30, so it's about 13 minutes to go left in the race. I would love to take a look at the championship standing points as we take a look at Michael Parker still leading Paul Darling just a bit there, but I'm going to try to go into the iRacing UI for Champion Motorsports and take a look at the point standings.
Meanwhile, Sean's doing that. I think what we're observing right now, oh my God, Paul Darling is caught up 3/10 into one corner here. And what I was expecting, we were seeing was Paul Darling kind of had to back up a little bit, especially when we're driving down the right bumper to bumper to the driver ahead of you like that for extended period of time. It's very easy to heat up your brakes, to heat up your tires when you're driving in that dirty air. So he backed up a little bit, but as soon as he felt he was okay, he's back at it again. The gap was 8/10 3 corners ago, but now it's down back to 2/10.5.
Okay, so I don't want to say the wrong points or anything, so we'll just kind of keep going as they run now. But Michael and Paul still going at it. I was listening to you commentate on it earlier. Is when I left to do it, the gap was 0.5 seconds. Now back down to just that 0.2. Paul really kind of pushing the issue. It seems now is only 11 minutes left in this quick 30-minute race.
Patience is a virtue, especially in racing these situations. But just when you're basically battling one-to-one with the driver behind, it is the most important virtue you can hold as a driver. You just have to wait. You have to wait. You cannot go too early. It's better to go late than to go early, because if you go early, you put yourself in the same position as the driver ahead of you. Right? It's always a disadvantageous position to lead the race. And now he's going to pull alongside, but again, just backs off in turn 1 there. Gives Michael Parker a look. Again, just showing the front light to the driver ahead in his mirror. He's going to see that flash pop up and then disappear right away. So again, just waiting, biding his time. And he's not going to bite. Haas cannot afford to bite until the last few laps. But Michael Parker's going to run wide here. Got to open an opportunity for Paul Darling to pull alongside into the hairpin section here. It's going to follow by a double header. Down the inside we go, and it's going to be Paul Darling to pull ahead. And now Michael Parker's going to look back as he has the inside line this time around. So it's switch around, but also the drivers, this exciting racing, this battle coming to a head. Michael Parker had a look on the inside there, but couldn't make it Move 6 of falling, stay dead for now. To round the corner, up here we go. And now next up is going to be a heartbreaking winding corner, which means Paul is going to have an opportunity to at least pull a little bit ahead, but Paul, at the same time, Marcus have a bit longer time inside the slipstream of the driver ahead of him, trying to reclaim the first place position. But this fight for now, Paul Darling has pulled ahead of the mistake that he's been waiting for this entire race.
What a move now. Are we going to see Paul finally able to kind of pull a gap now with his pace, or does Michael play the 9-minute long game of trying to battle in his mirrors? But nah, it looks like Paul gets a really good exit out of the corner there. Lucas Haller making his way up to P3 podium. Looks like got past still past Enrico, and then Gab Chavez still trying to work on Enrico. David Nelson still sitting P6. About 3 seconds back from that Gab battle. And then, James Andrew, right as I'm going through the field now, gonna go off track again. He's trying to wrangle these cars, it's a whole different ball game. Oh, hopefully not gonna make another Formula drift.
Another one. Not quite as beautiful as one we saw before, but you can even go into the gravel trap. Now really avoids the gravel trap. Just touches the limits of the runoff area. Yeah, that's why the runoff is there. It's a corner, very easy to make a mistake. It's a corner where you can either choose to slightly tap the brake or lift off. And it seems there he lifted off there, and then he applied the throttle too early, and then it caused the oversteer into the drift.
It's like David Nelson, we were just on board with him. He just makes his way out of, looks like a self-induced incident. So we saw some tire smoke there. Grab the sausage curb just a tad, and man, Toka, that's all it takes. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the massive incident early on, right, with the sausage curb, which really goes to show you the combination of long winding corners, going in blind, hard braking, and then immediately having to try and cut the apex where there is a sausage curb. If you don't basically lick the sausage curb, you're gonna lose up to half a tenth per corner like that, just on the turn-in point alone. So you have to push the limit, but it only takes 1% past the limit for you to mess up your entire corner like that. Sausage curbs are deadly, man.
Especially this specific track in iRacing. I know that this is one that has those 3D modeled curbs you hear as they run over just the rumble strips there, but every single inch or centimeter, I should say, with these cars running overseas, it is modeled down to the laser scanned. So it really takes a lot out of the car if you smack that sausage curb with your right sides as you enter that one, or even turn 1, 2, or 3. Damn, another sausage curb there that they just passed. But Michael Parker doing an amazing job, able to stay with Paul after he made the move. Frankly, I thought that we would see Paul kind of run away with it. I'd like to ask our live audience now, man, put it in chat. Who do you think is going to come away with the win here? Paul, Michael, or do these two possibly get together? Oh, well, that's okay.
I think we got our answer there.
Yep, that might just give it to us. Right as I was saying it, but yeah. Donald Cepek, Mike Tyler still going at it. Donald just making that move work.
Up in 12th place goes Donald Cepek. Really has a long way to go to the 11th position to chase down James Andrew, but this move into the hairpin, really good stuff. Even breaks even later than Mike Tyler, having to go a long way around. Not only is he has the inside line, actually took the shorter path and came out ahead there. So good attacking maneuver for Donald Cepek, number 6 driver out of Ohio. And now he's going to be on the defensive line. We're seeing quite a lot of these one-on-one battles across the track. Right before it was Paul Darling and
Mike
Parker. Yeah, we saw a bit of Lucas Holler versus Enrico. We saw maybe Davis Ron versus Chad Henson as well at one point. Mark Johnson, James Andrew, now Donald Cepek and Mike Tyler. It's just battles after battle across the entire track, across the entire field, every position. It just gives us massive amount of entertainment.
Definitely so, as we just head to the 4-minute mark now. Mike Tyler, Donald Cepek heading into turn 1. Our closest battle on track at the moment looks like Davis Braun, John Jennings having a little battle of their own. But you said it best. I mean, excuse me, John Jennings and Mark Johnson. John, a little defensive there, but gonna make it work. You kind of compromise the exit when you, run a little bit more defensive line, but John able to make that exit work, trying to defend Mark from making that pass on him. Great racing so far. While we have a second, I would just want to take a look at that green flag start. I'm just so amazed at how clean it was. See Gab Chavez try to take it 3 wide up here towards the front of the pack, but no incidents following as these drivers look to get 2 and 3 wide as into turns 1, 2, and 3. I'm taking some really good mental notes here for the iRTES series that follows, again on Apex Racing TV. I just started practicing this track a week ago as we see just how tight it gets in there to turn 3, first gear turn. I'm frankly quite nervous to run in this next race. Like you mentioned, Toka, the elevation changes, the blind corners, and then adding multi-class onto that. But take a look at John Jennings getting passed there into turn 5 by, I believe, James Andrew there in that teal and white. Amazing start. That was really fun to watch. John Jennings, Mark Johnson still going at it. We have Lucas Holler holding off Enrico, and then Gab Chavez about 3.5 seconds back from this battle. So even though we've seen Enrico push his Porsche maybe a little bit too much through some turns, get some off tracks, still running P4, only 0.8 behind Lucas Holler, and that's pretty impressive. That's about 1,000 iRating difference on its own right there. So really fun racing. Lap times are only in the, looks like Paul just put down a purple lap last time by, fastest of the race, a 1:45.9. So that's going to warrant the white flag. Paul is just able to kind of keep it slow and smooth into these braking and acceleration zones. Gonna pull away with the win here today. Michael Parker, Lucas Holler sitting P3 still.
Yeah, as I was saying, like, the positions are basically set. Not really that. If we look at the timing and the gap across all the drivers on the field, right? Not a lot of chances of any drivers to make changes anymore. So it's basically just bring the car home towards the end. And yeah, Paul Darling and Michael Parker had a very good fight throughout the entire race, but ultimately it's Paul Darling who waited for his opportunity, got it, and reacted accordingly. Michael Parker paid the price for his mistake. Lucas Holler capitalizing off the back of Enrico, running wide 2 times in a row in 3 corners, gonna put himself firmly in 3rd place on that podium position. And the rest of the field, it's gonna play out the same way. I doubt there's gonna be any other crazy moves happening towards the last lap here.
Yeah, Chad Johnson, unfortunate contact for him, but still P7 with some pretty heavy aero damage. Great run for him. Davis Braun P8, but still got Paul out here in the lead. Needs to make it official. Looks like he's very close to doing so, coming out of that 180-degree-esque turn. This is going to be the last turn here at Portimao, Portugal. Appreciate you all for joining us today on Stam Studio Network and that Champion Sim Racing YouTube channel. Congratulations, Paul Darling. You have conquered Algarve International Circuit. Make that yours. That's going to help be tremendous run in the points. Michael Parker going to take it home P2. Lucas Holler P3. Enrico P4.
And across the last few, Gap Chavez, they come home in fifth. Behind him is going to be David Nelson in sixth place position. Chad Henson get up seventh. David Bronze eighth. Be the last point position. The rest is Mark Johnson, Don Jennings, James Andrew, Don Cepak, Mike Tyler, David Anderson, and Jared Skinner is going to round out the entire field. So that was an exhilarating race. Brought us a ton of entertainment. Could have asked for a better finish here at Portimao, I think.
Definitely so. I appreciate you, Toka, for joining me up in the booth. It was nice to have you back. Hopefully, you join. Hopefully, we have you back with us again as the schedule is open. So, man, anything that you'd like to commentate on? I got it coming up within iRacing. Congratulations again to our top three: Paul, Michael, Lucas. On and great points run. James Andrew gonna finish P11 after a few off tracks. Donald Cepak, P12, Mike Tyler, P13, David Anderson, 14, and then to round it out, Jarrett Skinner, P15. Join us on Apex Racing TV for that iRTES. Is that 2.5 hour race? It's a long endurance one, and then join me back on Stam Studio Network tonight. Got Penny Pleasers Cup coming at you live from Las Vegas. Some NASCAR Gen 6 action, but congratulations again to all of our drivers today as we flash the race results up on the screen. I'd like to get a winner's interview before we get going, but I don't see Paul Darling in any of the Discord servers I have. Gab is still in here providing me the point of view, but he's deafened. Obviously doesn't want to get distracted during the race, so thank you all for joining. Thank you again, Toka, for joining me up in the booth, and yeah, join me a little bit later on tonight. Penny Pleasers Cup, 8 p.m. Central. I don't know why it says practice there. That's sorry about that, but everybody have a great rest of your day or night wherever you were tuning in from us in the world. Toka, thanks again, and I will see you all later tonight.